from a behavioral science standpoint, we're creating an experience where the guest is attributing a sense of gratitude to the brand to foster a sense of emotional connection that makes them be a more valuable customer. So we're increasing the customer lifetime value for these restaurants and having a socially conscious incentives for guests to want to choose their brand over another restaurant's brand. And then from the social media perspective, I mean, getting authentic social media promotion of your guests to all their friends is obviously a really great benefit as well.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab, where you get real-world insights from industry pros to help you drive local revenue and local growth. This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize, digital marketing tools powered by local data that automatically work where and when your locations need it most. Learn more at evocalize.com. What's up, and welcome to the Local Marketing Lab. Joining us in the lab today is a guest with over 10 years of experience in restaurant technology. He's gotten last place in a fencing tournament, first place in a debate tournament, and has made both 30 under 30 and 40 under 40 lists. He's the founder and CEO of GiftAMeal, Andrew Glantz. Thanks for joining us in the lab, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Quite the intro.
And well, it's your background, so you earned it. So great work. Well, awesome. Well, hey, it's fun having you on. You know, we met a couple of months ago, just at different events, and I thought you had an interesting story that was worth sharing, and also an interesting platform that was worth getting the word out around. So why don't we just start by telling us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got to where you are today as the founder and CEO of GiftAMeal.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Los Angeles and I came out to St. Louis, where I am today, to go to WashU for college. And when I was in college, I had an internship at a venture capital firm where I really got exposed to the startup world. And when I was on a lunch break with the other intern, we were talking about how us as millennials were looking to support businesses that give back. And with restaurants, there were a lot of coupons and discounts and financial incentives, but not a lot that was really building an emotional connection between the customer and the brand. And so I pulled from a Tom's Shoes buy one, give one model, combined with the trend of people posting photos of food on social media, and came up with the idea of GiftAMeal, where each time a guest takes a photo of their food or drink from a partner restaurant, we make a donation to a local food bank to help provide a meal to someone in need in their community. Giving back had always been something important to me. I would volunteer at different causes for helping kids in my community. And I'd served on the board of a nonprofit throughout high school and raised about $350,000 for kids in need in my community. And I think that there's something about the power of community and how businesses can do well by doing good, and how for-profits and nonprofits can work together. And so when I founded GiftAMeal, that was kind of really the premise of it. And so that was October 2015 that I launched the very first version just in my St. Louis community. And I didn't have a car then. I was literally walking up the street through the snow to mom and pop restaurants to pitch them to be early adopters, and graduated in May 2017. We'd given about 30,000 meals to those in need at that point in time. And now we surpassed 2 million meals across 1,000 restaurants in 38 states.
That's incredible. So you founded the company while you were still going to school?
Yeah. I was literally, we went through an accelerator program in spring 2016. That was our first investment. And I was literally going back and forth between the office where the accelerator was to meet with subject matter experts and things like that, and go back to a class. So I would go to a morning class, then go to the office, and then back to class and back to the office. And I stuck it out and graduated. Almost dropped out at one point.
That's so wild. I mean, that's a lot of folks do that. They end up dropping out because they know that what they're on to is really worthwhile. Very, very interesting. So you've gotten lots of years of traction, and who are the types of clients that you've been able to bring on board in the last few years?
Mm-hmm. So I work with all different types of restaurants, from system-wide chain brands with 100 plus locations, like Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with 130 location, or Pizza Factory with 114. With those ones, it's something unified across the brand. So the program is funded by the restaurant and free for the guests to participate. And so like Lee's and Pizza Factory, they pay out of their marketing fund for all the franchisees to be on GiftAMeal. So that way it's something unified across the brand. So it's, local marketing, local giving. It's each restaurant location is matched to a local food bank that services their community. So that way it's something that's really meaningful and relevant to the staff and the customers and the franchisee. But since it's something unified across the brand, that's something that can really be their thing that they're doing to give back. So system-wide brands like those. We work with drink brands, like we have 236 locations of Gong Cha, a bubble tea brand. We work with regional chains like Groucho's Deli with 30 locations.
Oh, yeah.
Hopcat with 11 locations is more like a bar concept. We work with, pizza spots like Sal's Pizza, coffee shops. We work with independent mom and pops, restaurant groups. Emerging brands like Starbird Chicken. I think they just opened their 16th location a few days ago. All different types of brands. And we also work with franchisees. Like we work with franchisees of Fuzzy's Taco Shop, Jimmy John's, TGI Fridays, Andy's Frozen Custard, just to name a few.
Wow. Just to name a few. They're all getting tagged on the episodes. So we're going to get some good exposure there.
Awesome.
So tell me a little bit about the user's experience then. So let's say I'm eating at a restaurant. I really love the food. I want to take a picture and share. How does that share happen? And how does GiftAMeal, how does it make the connection to give the meal to the local food bank?
Mm-hmm. So from the guest experience, they see something like a table tent up at the restaurant, or something on the menu that has some type of call to action, which will say, scan the QR code, take a photo of your food, drink, or a selfie. And when you do that, a meal is donated locally. So sometimes it's those 3 steps or something like that. And so the guest just scans a QR code, snaps a photo for doing that. That's one meal provided. And then they're invited to share that photo on their personal social media. And we give an extra meal for each platform they share on. So if they share on GiftAMeal on Instagram, it's 2 meals. GiftAMeal Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter /X is up to 4 meals provided, all free for the guest, funded by the restaurant. And then the restaurant doesn't have any logistics required. They just pay a monthly program fee to be involved. And then from there, we pull from that program fee to make donations to the food banks for each photo taken. Each different food bank has a meal metric, which is their cost to distribute 1 meal's worth of healthy groceries that's donated by supermarkets and such from their big facility to the hundreds of neighborhood pantries where those in need could actually access it. So typically they'll say for every $1 donated, they can distribute 4 meals to those in need, or 6 meals, or 3 meals. On average, 4 meals per dollar is 25 cents per meal. So for each photo taken, we're donating 25 cents on average to the local food bank, pulling from the restaurant's program fee. And we just make those donations on the first of every month, and restaurants can track in their dashboard the impact that's generated with no extra effort for them.
That is incredible. I mean, what a really cool concept. And I mean, on the restaurant side too, from a marketing standpoint, you're incentivizing tons of user-generated content to be created, and then you're able to test on the socials. Like, if something really works really well, you can then amplify that by putting some dollars behind it and drive even more traction on the content that is already resonating with your audience.
Yeah. And actually something cool is that through the program, even if customers have a private social media account, the restaurant, when the customer submits the photo, they give the restaurants the rights to those photos. And so the restaurants in their GiftAMeal dashboard have access to all the customer photos that are generated through the program. So they literally have a giant library of user-generated content that they can pull from for their own social media and marketing efforts and everything. And it's all uplifting, happy content with positive captions and everything. There's no ratings or reviews. And so it's, a really great tool for the restaurants to pull from, for sure.
That's awesome. And from a result standpoint, have you seen a specific type of content or what have you seen that has worked really, really well for your clients?
Mm-hmm. I mean, on average, we've seen that the guests using GiftAMeal are returning 39% more frequently. They're spending 20% more per order, and they're tipping 32% more. So even putting the impact of social media content aside, the real secret sauce about GiftAMeal is, from a behavioral science standpoint, we're creating an experience where the guest is attributing a sense of gratitude to the brand to foster a sense of emotional connection that makes them be a more valuable customer. So we're increasing the customer lifetime value for these restaurants, and having a socially conscious incentives for guests to want to choose their brand over another restaurant's brand. And then from the social media perspective, I mean, getting authentic social media promotion of your guests to all their friends is obviously a really great benefit as well.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it's really, it's an incredible model. I hadn't heard all the way through end to end in our previous conversation. So it's a really neat model. And like you said, you're able to get engagement with the audiences of everyone who's also sharing the content and get exposure that way so that you're able to grow your base of folks who are impacted by the content and by the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is using your product to like the fullest extent, and like what are they doing differently? Like, do they have table tents and QR codes on the table and on the windows and on the menu, or like what's the secret sauce to actually getting success with the product?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, a big thing is there a call to action to the customer at the right point in the customer experience? They don't need to plaster signage everywhere, but if they have no signage or no explanation, the customers aren't going to know they're involved. So whether it's a table tent, or for Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, they actually have the QR code printed on their cups. It's actually on the packaging. So that's pretty cool. We have some brands like Starbird that have an acrylic 4x6 stand on the tables, and that's something that's worked really well for them. We have Scooter's Coffee franchisees that put up a window cling in the drive-through window, and that's worked well for them. So it's figuring about what works best for that brand. We've also had brands that have actually added GiftAMeal into their own mobile app experiences, as well as after we have integrations with Olo and Thanks and Lunchbox and all these other companies where restaurants, and also guest feedback like Ovation and Tattle, where at the end of any of these other experiences, the restaurant can prompt the guest to use GiftAMeal as well. And so whether it's for digital or in-person orders, it's figuring out how can GiftAMeal be presented to that guest in a seamless way. And also something to note is that the entire GiftAMeal experience is in the restaurant's own brand identity and colors. So that way it really feels like a native experience to the guest. So if they're launching GiftAMeal from their mobile app, it still feels like they're in the restaurant's ecosystem when GiftAMeal is launched and they're submitting their photo and everything, because we really want the restaurant to be getting the credit for it at the end of the day. And we also know that customers see a lot of messaging when they're at a restaurant. And so we want GiftAMeal to be something that's additive and not something that's polluting the experience of just like another call to action.
Yeah. No, it makes total sense. So let's say somebody maybe they can't get buy-in to get started right away, or maybe they can't jump right into using GiftAMeal. What are some suggestions you'd make to them? And let's just say they want to also start moving in this direction of giving back to the community. What are suggestions that you can give to them to maybe get started and get the ball rolling, to get momentum, get a foothold in service within their community?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that businesses can get involved in their community, whether it's, doing benefit nights to support different causes. It's a way to help drive some traffic, connecting with local schools or like the local kids' Little League teams and things like that, and like sponsoring those types of events as ways to give back. They can host canned food drives and things like that to support their local food banks. They can do staff volunteer events. They can do roundups for a cause. So there's a lot of different things that businesses can do. Even things like, showcasing local artists, and like art on the walls of the restaurant. There's a lot of different ways that you can be involved in your community. For a GiftAMeal, the entry cost is pretty low. For a single location restaurant, it's $69 a month to participate, and it's month to month with no contract or commitment. They get 2 months free if they pay for a year, but they can also just do it for a month if they want to try it out.
Yeah.
And for our chain restaurants, we discount based on the number of locations, anywhere from $34 to $55 a month per location. So we have a lot of brands just try to pilot it out because, though there's a lot of different things you can do from a community engagement and local marketing perspective, a lot of the times it takes a lot of time and work. And so one of my goals with GiftAMeal is to create a really turnkey plug and play way for restaurants to have a local marketing and community engagement solution that doesn't add anything extra to their staff's plate.
Well, it's also neat too. If you think about it, gives you an opportunity to even further embed with some of the nonprofits in your area, because it's
Mhm.
like if people come into your location and you have the placards and stuff and you develop awareness, then that's great. But you could do a better job of even developing awareness beforehand of the organizations that you support, and start to tell their stories on social and highlight, those that are impacted by the organization, and really just deeply embed yourself with the cause that you're supporting locally. And then when they come in, now it's really an authentic part of your brand. People see time and time again that you're supporting these organizations. Then when you come in, they're like, oh yeah, now we can donate and really help. We could do our part to be part of this movement.
100%. I mean, I think that the more that you can do, the better, to showcase that it is an authentic way that you're looking to support this effort. So as much as the restaurant can be a megaphone of support for that cause in terms of spreading the word, doing staff volunteering at that organization, or
Mm-hmm.
other types of drives or donations to support them and be involved and just spread the word, is fantastic. One thing that I like that you mentioned was sharing the stories. One thing that GiftAMeal does at the end of the customer experience after they share their photo is we showcase an impact story that's been shared with us, where we've actually gone out and interviewed those that are receiving the food at local food pantries. And we've also received stories from some of our local food banks. And so we'll actually show a picture of somebody with a quote from them about how this meal that you're providing is helping to impact their lives and, their kids' lives as well, and
Yeah.
everything. And so I think that's something that's really important to me as well, is, we've provided 2 million meals to those in need, but showcasing, hey, hunger isn't just a number, it's actual members of our community. They're receiving help. And, we're all in this together type of mindset, and really humanizing hunger and showcasing, hey, it could happen to anyone. So let's all help each other out. And so those stories, I think, are really impactful in terms of, helping to advance the mission of the cause, and also furthering that sense of an emotional connection, both with the organization that's being supported and with the restaurant brand when the customers are sharing out their GiftAMeal photos.
Very cool. Yeah, I would have never thought, by looking at just you come off as being so aggressive, but you're so kind-hearted.
I don't know if I come across as being aggressive.
When we were at what was it, QSR Evolution, I think, when we were chatting, and I said, "Whoa, don't be so aggressive." And you're just the kindest, nicest person. For those who are listening and not watching, very kind-hearted, very very nice guy, Andrew. One of the facts that you sent over, I could see why you lost the fencing tournament, by the way. But you had mentioned something about your class at college voting you to be, most likely to be a billionaire in your graduating class. And I agree with, you would have the success to achieve such a feat, but I do not think that you'd ever get there with your accounts, because I don't see you as the type of person to hold on to the money as much as you give.
I would be giving it away. But I think, it was cool to be selected for that. But I think that's definitely one of my missions in life, is like figuring out, well, that is like a driving factor in my life, is how can I figure out how to maximize my impact, whether it's through for-profits or nonprofits. And, GiftAMeal structured as a for-profit social venture. And so I really want to showcase that businesses can do well by doing good. We just reached break even this month, actually. So as a startup, that's a big milestone. And and also just for me, for trying to show an example for other startups that, hey, you can do something that makes a significant impact for your community and still succeed in business. I mean, GiftAMeal, as a for-profit company, is donating about 25 to 33% of our revenue on a monthly basis to local causes as a for-profit company. And so that's definitely something I'm super passionate about, both in business and in personal life.
So you could have broken even a long time ago, but because you're so tied to the cause, you prolonged that to ensure that you continued to give back to the communities. That's incredible.
I think when you're a social venture too, you're just held to a higher bar, or you should be held to a higher bar to make sure that you're authentic and genuine in terms of the support that you're doing for the community, because the social impact is your mission and it is your brand identity at the end of the day too. So you need to make sure to protect that brand identity, and so we make sure that all of our decisions revolve around that.
Very cool. One of my favorite superheroes that is always he's called Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He's always giving back. He's always serving those around him, and I thought it might be cool to kind of throw you in a Spider-Man outfit.
Oh man, that'll have to be a Halloween costume. Oh, that's hilarious. I'll show that to my wife. She'll get a kick out of that.
That's what everybody says. I'm going to show it to my wife. But yeah, anyways, I thought it'd be fun to drop into AI. For those who are listening, not watching, it's a picture of Andrew in a Spider-Man costume without his mask. And it actually looks pretty cool.
I'll take it.
Awesome. Well, hey, before we let you go, why don't you tell us, how we can follow you, how we can follow GiftAMeal, and maybe if there's any causes that you think stick out, in terms of being like front of or top of mind that we should look into to help support as well.
Absolutely. So people can follow along for GiftAMeal. Our website's giftameal.com. Restaurants interested in learning more can go to giftameal.com/partner, and they can always book a demo. For people that want to follow along and see the restaurants and the photos and everything, you can follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X, LinkedIn. It's just at GiftAMeal. I'm on LinkedIn as myself, Andrew Glantz. Feel free to reach out. If you reach out, maybe include a little bit of message in there that you heard me on the podcast, so it gets through the noise. But yeah, just would love to connect and see how we can help the industry and help those in need together. And in terms of causes and everything to support, I mean, I'm assuming listeners are from all over the country. So I would just say, take a look at, you just literally Google food bank in your city name, and look at how you can go support and volunteer. I mean, we volunteered 2 days ago with our team, and we invited community members to join us. And we had a group of 30 at Operation Food Search, the food bank in St. Louis. And we packed over 5,000 meal kits for kids in need for them to receive over the weekend when they don't have access to school lunches. And so, even just spending a couple hours bringing your team out there, it can be super fun to do it too, and engaging, break the routine of sitting in front of a computer and give back. So I'd say look up your local food bank. And, we're just wrapping up. September was Hunger Action Month. And, when we're looking at the impact is not just a 1 month thing. It's how can we, throughout the whole course of the year, make an impact for our communities. For hunger in particular, 1 in 6 kids face food insecurity. So definitely something that's near and dear to my heart, and that we can all make an impact in together. So really appreciate you having me on.
And I will just add to that too, having volunteered at like food banks, it is something, any volunteer work that you can do, it's not only enriching for those that you're helping, but it also enriches your own soul. So absolutely, if you get a chance to go volunteer, I would take advantage of it. It's fun to see, just how others change around you too, that join you in the work. So awesome. Andrew, this is a lot of fun having you. Thank you everybody for listening. Thanks again for joining us in the lab, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
As always, thanks for joining us in the Local Marketing Lab. This podcast is brought to you by Evocalize. To learn how Evocalize can help you grow your business, visit evocalize.com. If you learned something new from today's episode, don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at Evocalize. That's EVOCALIZE. And on X at Evocalize Inc. And remember, keep innovating and trying new things. You never know what's going to connect with your audience until you try. And until next time, thanks for listening.